recorded live in front of a studio audience. It's the Side Quest, your weekly journey into the wonderful world of video games, video game culture, and the wonderful public investment fund. No, we have not been purchased by anybody.
I wish I had. I wish I had my soundboard set up. I could have done some like intro claps for the studio audience.
There you go. Like some clapping or something. Yeah. We are the Side Quest, part of SideQuesting.com. And I'm Dolly Domovsky, as you can see here. This guy right up there is Taylor Bliss.
Hey.
And this double J, look at that, 2 J's. The only double J.
The true double J.
The true double J. The true double J. And this is Zach. Hey, Zach.
Zach, hey, Zach. OK Quest.
Jerk at OK Quest. Let's do Wednesday. Okay, we do Wednesday. I'm not going to be there. How you guys doing? Everybody good?
Yeah. I haven't been on in a while.
Well, nobody has, because it's been like Christmas was the day after Christmas or whatever. A couple
days like we didn't do one last week, and I didn't do like the last two. So.
Oh, you weren't on that last one. I think it was just Taylor and
I
Zach
wasn't
there.
Because I haven't been on since the Nintendo Indie Direct.
Since last year.
Yeah.
Wow. That's true. Yeah, since the weekly indie thing. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. You're right. It was just Zach Taylor and I. Yeah. Zach Taylor and I. You were on for the Game of the Year one. So.
Yeah.
So last time Sam was on. Sam, who was going to be on tonight, but now he also cannot be on tonight. But don't worry, y'all. It's all good. It's all good. But you guys have a good New Year?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Good holiday season, I should say.
Yeah.
I lived.
You lived?
I lived, bitch.
I survived, bitch. Yeah. That's good. That's good.
Or as Sinistar says, beware I live.
Mine was good. We were kind of joking around a little bit with some coworkers and some buddies and stuff that because I've basically been working from home the last 3 odd years, whatever. The last 3 Christmas holiday seasons, it doesn't feel like it didn't feel like a holiday break for me because I'm legit in. Yeah, what's that? Did it for you? No.
Oh yeah.
I'm in this is my office. From this part of the screen right here to that part of the screen is my office. And so I've been here the whole time, and just flipping my laptop down, it's like, so I'm not at work, but I'm still in this room and I'm still like snacking throughout the day. So it didn't feel like it was anything different. And then I got hit with the flu like a week and a half before Christmas, which sucked. Or the week before Christmas. Yeah. The week of Christmas, whatever. It sucked. I can't even remember. It was just a mess, but it didn't feel like a break for me. So we've started going back into the office, which I like, because it means that there is now at least for a couple days a week, there's now a definite separation between church and state when it comes to breaking away from work. So I'm already looking forward to Christmas holiday season 2023, but then we'll hopefully have some games. I did want to say to JJ, though, you're welcome.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, hell yeah. My second favorite football team now.
Now your second favorite football team. No, we were I'm obviously a Detroit Lions fan, and JJ is a Seattle Kraken fan, but also sometimes
occasionally the Seahawks.
Rarely
the Mariners.
And because we won against the much hated Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers, your team made it into the playoffs.
Yeah.
It was good times.
You saved America from...
I did. Legit say we saved America from Aaron Rodgers, which I think everybody... It was really funny getting like positive messages from friends who are in completely different cities who are like, thank God we don't have to... Thank you guys. Thank God we don't have to listen to Aaron Rodgers again. So it was good stuff for everybody. But instead of sports games, real life games, let's talk about video games. And
I was gonna break down my entire AEW experience, much to Taylor's enjoyment.
You know what? Go. Let's.
No,
no. Okay, there is not much to talk about.
Do I need to pick up the book?
Yeah.
I'll pick up the book.
There is not much to talk about from a news standpoint. Obviously, everyone's coming out of the.
I will allow us to talk about WWE news.
Because it does kind of affect.
It would
let's start
likely.
Let's start with that.
It would likely affect. JJ, are you tapping your desk?
No.
I keep hearing. Oh my god! I hear a reverberation from somebody. It sounds like. I thought I saw you moving. It looked like
I have a tick in my leg, so you see me moving, but it's just my leg shaking.
Okay,
but
well,
it's not. It's not. There is no desk. This is a. I'm not even touching.
Is your leg touching the cord by any chance? I don't know. It sounds like it's.
I did hear something.
It was wobbling. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, so
go ahead. WWE.
It's still unconfirmed, right?
Correct. It's unconfirmed.
The ongoing rumor has, in my opinion, permeated enough. If I saw it, and I really do not care. But I saw it, which means that it's probably pretty likely to be confirmed. Which I knew that Vince McMahon came back, rejoined the board of directors. I don't know how that works. I don't need anybody to explain it. Anyway, this was like a fucking. It was like somehow Vince McMahon has returned a moment.
Yeah, it was episode 9. Palpatine.
It was like exactly. It was a Palpatine moment for me.
The thing is that I mean, it's not too far removed. I mean, he is.
Every single comment that I have seen surrounding this news is, and WWE was going so well.
Yeah.
Until this.
Yeah. The company was on an upswing.
Yeah.
The creative output was the best it's been in a significant amount of time. The problem is that despite stepping away, Vince McMahon still owns 81% of the company.
Right.
And when he decides he wants to come back, he gets to come back, and he gets to sort of push the narrative.
Unless somebody can convince him to buy out his shares, right? That's the
Correct.
only way the only way that changes. And obviously that didn't happen. Just for reference, he was mostly pushed out because of allegations about being a sex pest, if I recall correct.
It's not even really allegations. It's pretty much there's like documents showing
for
that
being we'll just declare for being a sex pest then.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he was forced out. He came back. That's not even the news part. The news part that's circulating is the ongoing leak, or I guess not fully unsubstantiated rumor. That it is going to be sold to a Saudi firm. I don't recall the exact one.
No, the Public Investment Fund, which is
which owns
the games stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
The
Saudi Public Investment Fund, which is like the actual one, which is
they own that
sports washing, but
they own a football club.
Yeah,
and the
alternative golf, not the non PGA.
Yeah, live golf. But
so that's the only going. Now the implications here could theoretically be obviously WWE owns the IP for the very popular WWE line of video games, which were published by 2K, right?
Yes, they're 2K games right now currently. Yeah.
So 22 was out. Middle to end of last year.
Yeah.
So they're probably. 23 already licensed. 99% chance that game's already going to come middle of this year.
It's super fascinating right now because so WWE's been in bed with the Saudis for a while now. Yeah. Most of their income these days comes from Saudis because those shows make them upwards to $1 billion a year at this point. WWE is currently going into negotiations to renew all of their TV deals. So they're going into this sale to the Saudi, what is potentially most likely, there's only really 2 options. The Saudis or Comcast because
Yeah.
they're kind of already in bed with they've all of their shit's on Peacock. All of their shows air on Comcast stuff. They've been in bed with Comcast for decades, really.
Yeah.
At this point, back Saturday night's main event used to run on NBC. All that
The
stuff.
XFL stuff was on NBC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of deals that are kind of up this year. So it'll be interesting to see if that has any effect on any of that. So if they do go that route, but I don't know what that like.
I mean, honestly, if we had to guess, there's probably not going to be an overly significant change to a lot of it.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is the idea of legitimacy of the things that the investment fund owns. If that means, or if they believe that having it be run the exact way that it was run before, except it's owned by them, then that's the way that they'll leave it.
I want to tell sort of like a vaguely funny story with how a lot of this stuff has been playing out with WWE and their Saudi Arabia wrestling shows that they do.
Sure. The Kingdom.
Yeah, a few times a year they run shows out of Saudi Arabia. That's just part of a major deal that they've had. The thing is that things are kind of behind there.
Mm-hmm.
So when the shows come, the main events and the wrestlers that appear tend to be older.
Yeah, or how old are we talking? Like
Shawn Michaels,
2 seasons behind, 3 seasons behind.
Shawn Michaels hasn't wrestled for almost 20 years, and they brought him out of retirement to run on like this show. Yokozuna has been dead for a decade or 15 years,
and
perhaps.
They somehow resurrected him.
They wanted him, so WWE just had to bring in a fat Samoan guy to be sort of like an avatar. They don't call him Yokozuna, but the point is clearly there. It's very weird, and everything is sort of feels like it's off continuity. Like everything feels a little like alternate universe whenever they run a show.
Multiversal.
Yeah, it's always super weird because, like I said, like the main events tend to like revolve around retired wrestlers. Like it's like these people aren't on the day-to-day shows, and there's plenty of wrestlers that just flat out aren't allowed to go to these shows, whether it be because they're gay. Sami Zayn is Syrian and he just can't go. The women wrestlers didn't get to go at first, but now they get to go, and they have to
somewhat get to go.
A couple of them get to go, and they get to have like one match, and they have to be completely dressed head to toe. It's all weird, and one of the things that somebody pointed out was because Vince McMahon's daughter, Stephanie McMahon, had been in charge of the company after he stepped down. After he came back, she stepped down, and somebody pointed out that you're not going to sell a female-run company to the Saudi Arabia government. I mean, that's just not going to happen. So her stepping down is kind of a hint of where things are probably going.
Yeah.
So.
So they own a 5% stake in the public investment fund in Capcom and Nexon.
Yeah.
They
own SNK now, or is that a different?
That's a different.
It's a different. I think it's like an actual Prince's like.
It might be.
Oh, as in it wasn't the fund.
Yeah. I can't remember if it was But
I mean, they own a stake in Disney. They own
they
$500 million in Disney.
They're part of their whole thing of like, hey, look how great everything is here. We're doing better than we've ever been.
Yeah.
Was investing in all of these
Yeah.
entertainment companies to sort of try to get good PR for the country. So
yeah,
it's weird. It does have connections to video games in a significant way, so it's not completely wasted talk, and we can move on.
Yeah. I mean, and also a lot of the WWE folks are gamers. A good majority of them.
Yeah, I mean, Up Up Down Down is a massive video game channel, so.
But it's going to be an interesting topic of discussion because it does have ramifications for more than just the wrestling part, right? There's a whole.
Oh yeah.
There's a whole other entertainment aspect. There's licensing deals. There's all kinds of stuff. So if this does go,
WWE owns the most significant archival footage library of professional wrestling in the world. They don't own just themselves. They own the archival footage for dozens of dead and buried wrestling organizations. And to kind of take that out of their hands is a little worrisome in a way, but I mean...
Now, the WWE network doesn't exist anymore, correct?
No, it's all on Peacock now.
It's all on Peacock now, yeah. I remember when that launched, I think I was at CES with Ben. Ben and I were both at CES and watching the launch of the WWE network, or some major expansion of it. And how big it was, how important it was, because it was at the beginning of the streamer wars, basically, right? It was Netflix, I think. It was really the first. Hulu was kind of starting, but this was.
It was like really the first significant like hyper niche streaming platform. Like it's one like Netflix and Hulu and Prime and all these things like existed, but like this one was like expressly focused on one topic.
Like was it the Shudder?
Shudder is like strictly
kind of came from that, So and it was huge, and they built themselves off the back of MLB Network.
Yep,
I think there was a big technological signing there, and WWE Network did revolutionize a lot of.
It's why we started the wrestling podcast.
Yeah, we started the wrestling podcast that we used
because
to have
it made it accessible. We all had the same content, so it was easy to do. Yeah.
And so the WWE really did kind of push forward a lot of that stuff. Now, again, this is all none of it's confirmed. This is like the big rumor, but it's just going to be an interesting thing to see, because how much input will video games are one thing, but when it gets to certain types of, whatever percentage of ownership this is going to be, is it full ownership? Is it part ownership? I don't know. We'll have to, and we'll find out what happens. So, but another company that may definitely need a lot of money coming up is
some new ownership.
Some new ownership. Our good friends over at Ubisoft.
No, Ubisoft.
No, Ubisoft. Let me open up the our other good friends at GameIndustry.biz posted this article. They had their big, I think they had one of their trading and whatever their meetings and stuff. Hey, look at that! What's up, Diggs? What's up, Leland? They had their big meeting, and they said, was
it an investors call, or
I think it was an investor call? Yeah. And like, hey guys, lower your expectations for what we got going forward. Now, I was trying to figure out what what games Ubisoft had in 2023, like big new releases. And they had that at the very beginning of the year. They had that Rainbow Six. What was it? Extraction.
Yeah.
Which,
the weird like horror one.
Yeah, the horror one, which was what was it called? It was it was Quarantine, and they changed it to Extraction because everything that was happening.
Should have changed the name to Dead on Arrival.
DOA, baby.
Their PR is so dog doo doo.
It is
insane.
It might be the worst in the industry.
Yeah. The only PR that they run is their delay of fucking Skull and Bones.
Yeah.
Yep.
Really cashing in on a 15-year-old game.
Right. Well, then the only other new games they released, new-ish games they released, they had that roller derby game.
Yeah. Which is actually pretty good, but
no one's talking about it.
Yeah.
It's Just Dance 2023, which is Just Dance, and then Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. And every single one of Ubisoft's games underperformed. Even this Mario and Rabbids one, which was just horribly marketed.
Yeah, that's not. I mean, Just Dance kind of markets itself. I mean, obviously, you still have to like put eyeballs on it.
Yep.
But the thing that they need to put eyeballs on is realistically Rabbids Sparks of Hope, and they don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like they expected Nintendo to do all the heavy lifting,
like, or something, or like or the fact that because Mario's in it, it's going to get into a Nintendo Direct, and like that's enough.
Yeah.
It's Mario, and it's in a Direct. What else do we got to do?
Ubisoft used to like always do the most like absurd, over the top E3.
That's what I was gonna bring up. That's
exactly
what I was gonna bring
so
up.
it's like they don't have that anymore. So they're like lost. They're like chickens with their
Honestly,
heads cut off.
I mean, honestly, like E3 was huge.
It's
for
so
Ubisoft.
important for Ubisoft. It's the Ubi Forward events have not produced anything. I don't think have they had any this year. I don't know if they even had one or last year.
I don't remember anything from Ubisoft.
I mean,
at all in 2022.
They had the Assassin's Creed thing, which nobody remembered.
Oh yeah, Jesus, they did do that. Like
September or something. But Ubisoft used to come out gunning at E3 every year, and because people always look forward to Ubisoft. You had the Ubisoft media cycle was you don't hear anything about Ubisoft until March, and usually like Schreier or Tortillo would break the news about the next Assassin's Creed game. It's like, guess what? Assassin's Creed this year is going to be set in this.
Yeah.
And then it stays quiet until E3, and then you get like maybe 2 weeks before E3, you get another little mini leak, and then E3 shows up, and then they show off their games, and then
they have they have like 20 people take the stage and do a dance routine for Just Dance, and then they talk about Assassin's Creed. Then they'll show like the most unfunny clips from the next Far Cry game,
and they've had none of that exposure because there's been nothing that obviously there's been no games, but they haven't been able to have any location to do that. And I think this was the year, this past year to me was the year that all these showcases kind of dried up. I mean, apart from the Nintendo Directs, because everyone just it's a Nintendo Direct thing, there wasn't anything really else this year. You had the Game Awards, and you had the Summer Game Fest, and you sort of had a little bit of an Xbox thing. But that was it. There really wasn't anything else.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: is that like even if they came back to E3, like what are they gonna do? I mean, like they, their Ubisoft has been driven further and further into a corner than they ever have been before. Mario and Rabbids was like, okay, don't worry. Well, I mean, like it was like the thing of like, oh, they can still do other stuff. Mm-hmm. Even though it was Rabbids, which is what's his name, adjacent. What's the character? I forget.
Rayman
adjacent. Thank you. But it was novel. It was something new. It was something other than Assassin's Creed or Far Cry or Tom Clancy.
Yep.
I mean, who wants to take bets on the announcement of 3 games that they've canceled?
Yes, so that's part of the news. Yeah.
I mean, do we want to take bets on how likely it was that they were any of those 3 titles? Because I would bet that they're not. I would bet that it was not an Assassin's Creed game, that it was not a Far Cry game, and that it was not a Tom Clancy game.
Yeah,
I would bet that one of them is. One of them is.
I would say one of them's a Tom Clancy game, but it's like some weird one that we've never.
Right. It's not one of their established IPs, right?
It's not Rainbow Six. They didn't cancel a Division game. They didn't I mean, it's very possible that some weird ass Ubi art thing was canceled.
Likely could be something like that, or it could be, one of their tactical. Because Ubisoft does still do a lot of PC and tactical stuff. It could have been an Anno type of game.
Some Anno 4899 or something.
Yeah, but you know what? The Anno games, the Anno games release do relatively well critically.
Yeah.
Do probably decently sales wise. I mean, they're not releasing 20 press releases in the year about how it keeps breaking sales milestones.
Yeah.
But it probably does well enough. Based on the tone of their release today, they need more of the Anno type games that are just coming out, releasing, doing well enough to make money.
I mean, it's like they're like They're like like Anno and Trackmania are like their like secret powerhouse things. They're like they just kind of are always
Right.
running in because Trackmania. I think I'm still paying the $10 a month for Trackmania, and I haven't played it in several uh several months at this point.
It,
But
it's you look at what else kind of came out of it, which was, hey, Skull and Bones got delayed again.
yeah,
Which we know
none of
that.
us like. It's impossible to delay something when you never know when it's coming out. Like,
And nothing from Beyond Good and Evil 2.
yeah.
The Avatar game, which probably won't come out till the next Avatar movie.
Yeah, I mean,
This-
they don't say that it's coming out in 2023, 2024 without expecting it to come out in 2024.
So,
Like,
yeah,
here's a greater question: is that like how systemic are the ongoing issues at the studio that we can have any faith in? I mean, at this point, I mean, yes, we don't know about anything about the 3 games that were canceled, or anything else that's in the pipeline. I mean, I feel like at this point, if I'm Ubisoft, the only people I'm telling about that otherwise is like, I mean, I don't even want to tell investors. I mean,
yeah,
they have to.
It's true. Yeah,
I mean,
But like investor calls are going to be monitored by press, so that's going to come out. Like you don't want to announce anything about what your estimated release schedule is because right now it's shot. They're based on what they have shown, we can't expect almost anything.
have they? Did they cancel the Prince of Persia remake, or did they just like indefinitely delay it? I can't
I believe it was
remember.
indefinitely-
definitely delayed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
They pulled it back
was-
in. They said they were basically rebooting the remake.
that might be the canceled one. I mean, honestly, at this point.
No,
could
they.
be.
It's Ubisoft was this pillar for as a third party because they had hit after hit after hit. They had Assassin's Creed. You'd have a season where you'd have Assassin's Creed, Watch Dogs, a bunch of their Just Dance, Far Cry. You'd have stuff come out all the time, and now it's like nothing. And part of it is definitely we kind of there were a lot of tweets about this as well floating around, in that games are just so big right now, they take so long that the Assassin's Creed games, which would take maybe 2 to 3 years to make, now take 5-6 years. Same with the Far Cry games, because they're just so big and they demand so much of resources and technology and so on. You want to get more realistic. You're devoting more people and time to it. That if the ship is even ever so slightly off course, in that case, by the time you notice it, it's veered towards an iceberg, and you have to spend a lot of time moving it out of the way. And so that's just the nature with the games getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's why you do tend to see those smaller games, the Rayman, not to say like a Rayman game is small or anything, but
It's smaller budget.
That's right.
It's smaller by team,
Yeah.
small, they tend to come out when they're supposed to come out.
I was just Ubisoft's like filler games are all of those weird board game adaptions: Trivial Pursuit, Family Feud, Monopoly.
True.
Like, yeah,
They had the Monopoly Madness game that came out.
I mean, the thing, if it was me, in my opinion, the biggest thing that they're missing are just the smaller budget. Like they have what I would describe, in my opinion, as creative and technical talent. So the fact that they are only targeting very large AAA games to release and develop is kind of odd, because they can do smaller games that can be good. They have the technical and creative know-how and talent to do so, and it's just not in their view.
Yeah.
Here's what.
Hey, did you know that they put out a Rocksmith game last year?
Yeah, Rocksmith Plus, which they did again. Horrible PR. Did not have a stage show to show it.
Apparently, and I did not know this, that they have mobile versions of Rocksmith Plus. I'm looking at the release thing, and there's in fall of 2022. It says iOS and Android Rocksmith Plus.
Okay, interesting. Because there's a subscription aspect to that. But Ubisoft right now has such a deep history of games. There's a long legacy of games, and a lot of games in their back catalog. And they've released these kind of shorter. Here's the Ezio collection. Here's the Assassin's Creed 4 these 2 games.
Yeah.
They need to do like the Atari 50. I think is a fantastic. Like last year, Digital Eclipse did phenomenal with the Atari and the Turtles games. They need to do a Prince of Persia. Like here's a
Prince of Persia collection and a Rayman collection would honestly be pretty stellar.
That would be great. You could throw a bunch of videos in there. Talk to development staff.
Yeah.
I mean the Spyro and the Crash Bandicoot collections, those did great. Obviously, they had some remastering work done to them, but they were really popular and they sold really well for Activision Blizzard.
Yeah.
Ubisoft could get to that point with some of their properties, but they're so stuck in the games as a service. They only want to look forward, make things bigger and more complex and subscription based.
They've done so many swings and misses on their gas games that it's
and you mentioned the NFTs
deflating.
In the Discord.
And like they did so much to homogenize the look of every single one of their games, like Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, The Crew. They all look the same, like Watch Dogs, like they all look the same. They all have the same UI. They all have the same everything.
I was gonna mention that too. It's just that like the Ubisoft formula. I mean, it's so pervasive that we talk about the Ubisoft formula in games well outside their purview, and even sometimes when it doesn't deserve it, it's just like open world games where you reveal part of the map. It's like oh, that's an Ubisoft game, right? And but at the same time, it's true because it has crept into almost every single one of their top AAA titles. Almost.
Yeah. At this point, the only thing they could release that I would ever get excited for is if it was obvious that Beyond Good and Evil 2 was about to exist, like actually exist. Like as much as I kind of like the Far Cry games as just sort of silly first-person shooters, like you can't get me excited for one. I'm just gonna play it. Inevitably, it's gonna be $15, and I'm gonna play it, and I'm gonna enjoy it, and I'm gonna be done with it and move on.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like the last Far Cry kind of missed a little bit. I mean, it did critically well enough, but like. Yeah. The Far Cry games kind of were past the peak.
The only thing people really cared about 6 was the cast. Like that was kind of
right.
Yeah. So
anyway, we can move on.
We can move on. And there isn't a ton of other news. There is a Microsoft Direct, or what do they call it, Developer Direct happening on the 25th. The much rumored next Microsoft little event. They I think it was Aaron Greenberg had mentioned because there wasn't anything really shown off during the Game Awards except for a couple little Game Pass things in a promo trailer. So everyone's like, hey Aaron, hey Phil, yo, where is the Xbox stuff? And they said, yeah, well, we hope to be showing you guys something soon. Well, that is pretty soon, right after the holidays, January 25th. They announced today they're going to talk about Redfall, Forza Motorsport, Minecraft Legends, and one other game. But all these are games that are coming out supposedly the first half of the year. And now Forza Motorsport coming out the first half of the year to me is a pretty big one. Oh, Elder Scrolls Online. There you go. That's a big one to me because I did not expect that the first half of the year. That's usually reserved for November, and it's like a perfect fall game. So them talking about it for the first half of the year is kind of wild. But I'm not like expecting big giant news out of this. This is definitely a more of a developer focus. Like, hey, let's show you some gameplay. Let's show you some more details on these 4 games. And then they're saving the Starfield stuff for its own event later on this first half this year. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about this? Are you hyped for it? Are you looking forward to anything special in particular?
I mean, it doesn't I'm very, very excited for Forza Motorsport.
As am I.
I like the given the choice, I want to just navigate menus and jump into races as opposed to cruising the map like the Horizon games, even though I still love the Horizon games. I just the simminess and the sort of boringness of the motorsport aesthetic is more
Yep.
my favorite. But like I don't really need to see anything from it. Like I know what that game is, so
Yeah.
whatever. But I
Yeah.
don't know. Like there's nothing. I'm at the point with Microsoft and Xbox stuff where it's just I just have it come out. I don't care. There's nothing like like I don't know. There's
For
nothing to make me like want to tune in. That like I don't know.
for better or for worse,
Yeah.
Microsoft is pivoting towards a cadence where, I mean, for one thing, they don't really have super big IPs and super big releases
Yeah.
that
At the moment, they don't.
currently, but like even
like
overall, like what's their big needle mover?
Halo?
Halo.
I mean, it used to be
yeah,
Halo,
but,
right?
Yeah, but it used to be. But listen,
I mean,
don't get me.
Infinite was like Infinite and Forza Horizon, like, but because they've made all of this stuff available day one on Game Pass, like,
Right. So
Yeah.
that's part of it.
Yeah.
So that's part of the thing. But like we named the two games that we just named were Halo
Yeah.
and Forza.
Yeah.
Of the two, Halo is infinitely more marketable to the wider audience.
oh yeah,
A pun.
Infinite, get it, guys, get it, because
yeah,
the
it's
last
the
one was
same word.
Halo Infinite.
Is infinitely more marketable. Still did pretty poorly considering how bad the launch was.
Yeah.
Single player only, no forge, multiplayer split.
Yeah.
They tried to capture as much hype as they could about the fact that they launched that multiplayer early or / unexpectedly, what have you. But either way, it was pretty poor. And a Forza, for as good as it is a racing game, and that just really kind of narrows the niche of the game. So if we're talking about those as being the two big titles that Microsoft have to talk about, and here's the thing, the kind of where I'm going with this isn't that this is a problem for Microsoft so much as it is that this is the change for Microsoft. This is the new Microsoft, which is that they don't want it to care.
Yep.
They don't want people to worry about what is going to be the big Microsoft announcement. They want instead everybody to care about each of their little announcements equally as much.
Yeah.
It's don't stop waiting for the big realistically the big announcements are going to be if they ever when and if they do new hardware again, and when they sign the next big deal to
Once
license third party IPs onto Game Pass.
Yeah.
that like the Activision thing has been such a because of the constant problems they've been having getting this deal done has really sort of put a damper on probably a lot of their plans. I think they expected it to go a little smoother than it's been, and it hasn't been. So,
but it may have also, you're 100% right, because they could have been saying things like, or waiting to showcase things at E3 that are related to Activision Blizzard. Obviously, signing the on the dotted line, they said they were hoping that this deal will go through by June. So they wouldn't be developing new games until that point going forward. So you're not going to necessarily see stuff unless, the most you would ever see is a logo and then hey, we are going to make a Call of Duty game specific for Xbox. And that's it. That's all they would be able to do because there's not enough time. What if
that Call of Duty Zombies, but it's set in the Halo universe?
There you go. Call of Duty Halo. There's an idea, but it's I was looking actually at a good discussion or a fun discussion. What's gonna sell? And this is fun. What's gonna sell more, Zelda or Starfield? It's gonna be Zelda. because Starfield's on Game Pass. The majority of the people
Is
I
this
know
gonna
are going
be?
to get
It's
Starfield on
it's
Game
like
Pass.
the
More people will
WWE when they opened the network. It's just like,
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
there's no pay-per-view sales anymore. So
Now more
I mean, part
people
of it,
will
I mean, like,
potentially play Starfield, but purchase-wise,
I mean, here's the thing: is that we're not going to get sales numbers, or I mean, well, of course we're still going to get sales numbers.
Yeah.
But what we're going to have to do is view it in the lens of including, because like Starfield is going to be a really, really big launch.
Yes.
So I mean, I guess that's one of those things, is that like we're like pretending like there's no other games other than Halo and Forza. But obviously, like, you know, the Bethesda acquisition and Starfield is going to come up.
I think
and be
that's
one of
sort
those
of
big
the
things.
thing, though, right? Like with the Bethesda acquisition, is that we all still think of Bethesda as just sort of
As
Bethesda.
the behemoth
Yeah.
third party, right?
Yeah.
Except
which is
that,
great.
Except that,
I love that we think of Bethesda because that's how they still function.
Yeah.
And that's perfect.
well, it was how they still function, but Starfield's going to be an Xbox.
Yeah.
I mean, although, is it going to be a all-time Xbox exclusive? Is it going to be timed?
So. No, it'll be a full all-time Xbox exclusive until you get Game Pass on the other.
That's what they're going to do. Anyway, my point is that you know, what Microsoft is going to do is, you know, Starfield's going to be a really, really big one, most likely. It's going to do a lot of Game Pass numbers because
Game Pass sales.
Right. It's going to do two things. It's going to drive Game Pass sales. It's also going to drive engagement on Game Pass from existing Game Pass subscribers. Mm-hmm. And what they are going to want to do is tout the numbers of people that engaged with that game in Game Pass, because for two reasons. A, they want to talk about how many people played the game, because, you know, you can't talk about how many people bought it anymore because you're selling Game Pass. But also, you know, you want to make Game Pass sound more attractive. So you want to talk about how many people are engaged with it. So, you know, you're going to have to frame it slightly differently, and Microsoft has to take advantage as much as they can from a PR and a marketing standpoint, and do as much as possible with that shift, because nobody else can really do it right now. So it's kind of uncharted territory. You know, there's some stuff, obviously media has done it, Netflix and streaming services know to do it, but games is its own beast. So you can't really, you can't do, it's not apples to apples. You know, we're not, DVD sales are not streaming numbers. It's different. It's just inherently different. So it's going to depend on how well Microsoft does in capitalizing on how well things do with Game Pass.
Exactly. And again, Microsoft does have a ton of projects. They have the stuff from Obsidian. They, you know, there's so many projects that
that's what's so
enticing. That's the second half of the year to me that we're going to start seeing some of these. There's a Perfect Dark game coming out. There's a Gears of War game. There's there are things coming, and I think 2023, the second half of 2023, is when we will actually see these things come through, because they're going to have. And if Forza launches here between now and the end of spring. Those are 4 big games, and Minecraft Legends is going to be on everything because Microsoft is really good about putting the Minecraft.
They see Minecraft. I mean, you think Microsoft is looking at the NPD numbers that just dropped on Japan sales, and they're like, "Oh, Minecraft's in the top 10."
Yeah,
keep it coming.
A not great version of Minecraft on the Switch is in the top 10, but it sells like crazy, and so they know what they're doing there, and I think what these big launches are going to me, these big launches are the real next big phase of Game Pass, because they've dropped games on there, but I feel like these are the ones that are going to say, okay, if you've got Game Pass and you've got Forza, then you're also going to get these bonuses. You're also getting automatic, subscriptions to this. You're going to get cars. You're going to get access to this kind of stuff. These things in Starfield are going to drive engagement through the summer. Microsoft doesn't need to drop any more games, because remember, Starfield's supposedly coming out by the end of June, but you don't need any other games on Xbox from a first party standpoint until maybe around the holidays this coming year, because you can drive through all those. I hate saying drive, but you can work through all those games as even Redfall, and there's plenty, and then you're gonna get the third parties in there. And so, to your point, Taylor, it's to me, it's not as important that Microsoft drops these big first party releases. I think they're doing things okay. They are gonna be signing some big game. I mean, the Persona games are Game Pass. That's gonna help sustain them for those are next week, right? Yeah.
I mean, me as a person that subscribes to Game Pass, my excitement has shifted from the first party announcements, which I know are going to come to Game Pass no matter what, into what are they going to talk about that's going to A, move to Game Pass, or B, what are the things that are going to, indie stuff, especially or other large third party releases, which are going to launch day one on Game Pass.
Yeah. And it's also easy to forget that Game Pass has a partnership with EA.
Yep.
Like I don't
EA
need
plays kind of big.
I don't need a lot of Madden, but to know that every year I get 10 hours for free of the new Madden game or the new FIFA game or whatever it is on my Xbox is excellent. Like hell yeah, let's go. And they've been working more and more deals with the aforementioned Ubisoft. Like they are partnered with their Uplay service. It's not that great, but like
or Ubisoft Plus or whatever that.
Yeah, and like that's it's interesting the kind of stuff that really because all of the like League of Legends and all that stuff just popped up a couple weeks ago on there.
Yeah, that was kind of Dally, especially after they made that announcement about the not integration. But the agreement,
whatever, that is,
Anyway, the deal with Riot, we were talking about how much we thought that would matter. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would think that with some of the press stuff that they're coming out afterwards, it's going to be a little bit of a lead time since this, because it officially went live like last week.
Yeah. Oh, did it? So it was last week. Okay.
Something like that. I mean, because I remember, I open up the app on my PC relatively regularly, and it went from coming soon to now out. I feel like over the last 14 days, and so it's it's there now. You can install through Game Pass, which obviously Microsoft wants that because. If you install it and you purchase anything through the Microsoft Store, they're going to get a cut.
So it was December 12th or so is when the Riot stuff.
So it's been a month.
Are you shitting me?
Yeah, just a month.
Wow.
Yeah,
dude, the fucking holidays were a fucking goddamn blur.
I'm telling you, dude. They were a blur. Everything was messed up.
All right, so it was a month, not a couple weeks. I was only off by a factor of 2.
Yeah.
But so anyway, so that stuff's there. But there is obviously exclusive content that also comes from it. I would hope that we see them declare some numbers about engagement on that thing because it felt like it was a huge deal.
Yeah. And I to that point, I think kind of the point that I'm getting at is the Riot was the first step actually towards really building up more than just putting a game out there and saying, check out. Well, no, more than just saying, here's a game, here's an indie game, have fun, and it's going to be gone in like 6 months. The Riot stuff to me, more so than the EA stuff, the Riot stuff to me is if you sign up for Game Pass, you're going to be more included in some of the esports stuff. You're going to be part of the community for whatever this is. You're going to be in the racing community. It's more than just playing the games. To me, the Game Pass Gold or the diamond in the Game Pass is going to be when they start really integrating these other aspects. It's almost like we talked about the one console to rule them all, which never happened, but Game Pass could very well be the gaming version of the one account to rule them all. That to me is exciting.
It would not surprise me if that is their kind of angle on it. They're looking for the one place where you can log in and get in the same way that Epic tried to pivot off of the same thing from Fortnite to launch their own game store. But the issue that they're going to have with that idea is that if that is assuming if that is even what they're doing, we don't know that, is that they're bad at it. They're bad at that stuff. They are very, they're good at signing deals. obviously stuff is still coming and still going. I never did finish Dragon Quest XI before it left Game Pass, unfortunately. But the other part of it is that not where I'm going with it is that the deals are not perpetual.
Yep.
These are ephemeral. But at the same time, there is no back end systems that are going
Sure.
up to make it any more than just surface level here's games. There is nothing of sense. There's no community, and I don't personally need that stuff. But at the same time, I don't see it coming personally.
I think I'm not saying it's coming soon. I'm just saying, and eventually that seems like, because you have it with their Office.
I think it would be a great idea.
Right?
I just don't think that they're going to do it. I don't think they can pull it off.
Sure. Understandable, but they are pulling it off with Office. They are pulling it off with a bunch of other stuff in that you log in and the PowerPoint you were working on, and Adobe, the other companies do this, of course. The PowerPoint that I was working on today, I clicked through, and the Word document that I had and the whiteboard document that I had, and I was pulling stuff. They need to get to that level for games, because the gaming world is kind of advanced. I don't know. It's a lot to think about, but
I mean, I am all.
You're all for it, but I know.
I'm rubbing my eyes because I know what the back end system wise is of what that stuff is.
Taylor.
Because I'm a system system admin by day, and like to know how much of a jumble of spaghetti it is in the back end of that stuff.
Especially when you're dealing with so many third parties, right?
They can't do it. I know that they can't do it. That the back end of that shit is still SharePoint. I'm not going to turn this into a technical podcast.
No,
it will not work.
However, if they do the Game Pass metaverse,
there you go. You know what? It's a great jumping off point.
I'll but before you do, the one thing it is a shame that they don't have a VR headset and that there is no VR games that Microsoft has to highlight on this pass. Because
God, would I love to have a Game Pass for VR, because every game is prohibitively expensive. Like, I really do want to play this, but I do not want to spend $40 on Bone Lab or whatever.
Yeah, right? That's what I'm saying. I think it's if there's anything that it is a, I won't call it a missed market because the market's too small. I will call it a very small missed opportunity. I do think it is that. HoloLens is dead, so sadly. Rest in peace.
Yeah, sadly. It's a great tool, but not for gaming, and it's just not business side.
Anyway, it would have been really sick if that was what it is. Microsoft, please partner with Valve for the Index 2.
Yeah, there you go. Well, there isn't any other news. Let's move on to what we've been playing.
That was a solid 60 minutes of news.
Yeah, 53 minutes. We're talking about what we've been playing, and mine are kind of quicker. But then I also want to get a little bit into gaming resolutions for the year. But who wants to go first with what they've been playing?
I'm gonna go first because mine's real small.
Go ahead. I'll talk about your games. I mean.
Yay! No, thanks.
Sorry. Happy New Year.
Got
him.
Taylor just like, all right.
By the way, he takes a shot. What I'm drinking today actually is there is a Cask and Kettle is K-Cups that are alcoholic. This one's 60 proof.
You talked about these.
Yeah. And I come to find out they're actually a Michigan-based company. So woohoo! But I've been drinking this, and this one is obviously the Mexican coffee, vodka, tequila, and tiny little bit of coffee in there, just so they can say it's coffee. But they're really good.
Piping hot vodka.
Piping hot vodka. It's a hot toddy. Anyways,
let's see. What have I been doing? I talked about some of the stuff that I played over the break, the last show.
Yep.
Since then, I beat Scorn.
Okay,
nice.
All right.
I finished that up. It turns out I was about like 40 minutes from the end of that game.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I was pretty far along. But I was also like, it's kind of like a windy mess.
Sure.
So I had to look up like a guide to like to reorient myself, and then it was pretty fast. Like if I had played it from where I was in that moment, it was probably closer to like 25 minutes. But yeah, Scorn's a game.
Scorn's a game.
It's
It's an FPS style, right? Where
yes,
you're,
it's an FPS. I would say there's probably like 20 enemies total in the whole game.
yes,
Yeah.
You know, it's not a focal point of it.
Yeah, it's definitely missed. I mean,
There's more.
Sure.
Yeah, there's much more puzzles. You know, technically, there is resource management. If you're very bad at shooting things, then you have to be much more conservative about your bullets. I personally did not have that problem. But yeah, anyway, so I beat that. It was unfulfilling, but purposefully. I mean, the ending is meant to be what it is, which is, you know, you just you're meant to feel unsatisfied because because of what the game is and the story that it tries to tell. You know, there is an ending point, and you don't make it to it, and it's on purpose. That's all.
Do you like it at least, or are you enjoying it?
Yeah, I mean, it is a very visceral experience.
It's one of those things where it's like a Cronenberg movie, and where it's like I like it, but like not like in the traditional sense of liking it. Like
exactly. It's one of those things where like I'm not unhappy that I did it. And I think that it has a valuable message that it and story that it tells. But you know, I'm not going to go out there and be like, you haven't lived until you've played Scorn. You know, because it is a story and a message that not everybody wants to partake in. But for people that do, they're gonna be like, oh, that was a thing that I did, and I'm not upset that I did it. The other thing that I beat was I technically beat Immortality. Which is that so this is from Half Mermaid and God, what's his name? I can never remember the guy's name. Hold on, googling it. Half Mermaid games.
It's
please tell me now.
Man,
tell me right now. Sam Barlow.
There's Sam Barlow. Thank you.
So Half Mermaid and Sam Barlow. So you know they're I would call the new era of FMV games, and so Immortality was really interesting. I played through again. This is one of those things where it's like I just wanted to kind of hit stuff that I had left unfinished, unfulfilled, and that this was also pretty short. I had seen most of, you know, it's a game where you're viewing footage that spans 3 eras, 3 generations, to kind of tell a broader story that's kind of mystical, kind of fantasy-esque, but also based in the real world. And so I figured out what happened across those 3 eras, and I saw what is canonically the final message of the game. That was
what are you playing this on?
This was on PC.
Okay, it's on PC because it's actually available on Netflix as well, which is wild.
Actually, you know what? I think that if you know, it was actually one of the things that I saw pop up that we didn't talk about in the news, which is that Cowabunga Edition is coming to
Shredder's Revenge and Cowabunga.
That's a huge one.
Is coming to iOS and Android, but only through Netflix. The mobile versions are exclusive to Netflix games.
Can't wait to play those NES games on a fucking iOS iPhone.
But where I was going with it is that, like, if we're going to talk about a game that I think of that actually ties into like a Netflix experience, this is actually it.
Like this is these things like it's what Bandersnatch like wants to be.
Yes.
Like
Bandersnatch was just a choose your own adventure.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the actually one of the interesting things is that part of the UI is scrubbing the footage, like going forwards and backwards, like what we just saw there in that clip. And then
Like Cyberpunk.
I don't know. I've never played Cyberpunk. And then you kind of choose characters or items in the scene to bring you to other clips, which is kind of like what her story was. That's very similar to her story.
What was the other one? What was the Telling Lies?
Telling
Lies.
Yeah, that's right.
But the difference is that I'm playing on PC. Keyboard and mouse. It's basically all mouse, and the interface for that is actually really, really hard to do the scrubbing. Where there are, I'll just say that there are portions where you have to fast forward or rewind at very specific speeds, and it's not meant for mouse. It is meant for a controller, very, very clearly. And then I'm gonna finish up. I headed over to my CRT room.
Nice. Here we go.
I received my EverDrive in the mail.
Ooh.
To play all of my completely legal N64 games on. I'm just a busy guy, so I can't swap those N64 carts out all day long. So I just my massive collection of N64 games.
What is an EverDrive?
So an EverDrive is a device where, as opposed to an emulator or something similar to that, this is a cart that is meant to go into a regular console.
Okay, so you would put this in the actual N64.
Yeah. So this is an actual physical cart that goes into the console. It has a slot for an SD card, a micro SD card, and what it does is it uses a very small FPGA chip, and then it loads a ROM onto the memory of the physical cart, and it's like you're playing one of the regular games.
That's cool. That's really cool.
I actually ran into an issue where I never had a memory card for the N64, and at Zach's request, I booted up Quest 64 because
that copy that you owned of Quest 64.
Yeah, that's right.
The most
the only
owned,
RPG on the
the most owned Nintendo 64 game, right?
Naturally.
Everyone's got a copy.
I owned it. I did.
But the issue was that I didn't have a memory pack, and it requires a memory pack, but because it's you're not emulating anything, it's just running the game as if it was on the cartridge, and it yells at you. It's like, yo dog, you don't got a memory pack. Are you sure you want to do this shit? You're not going to be able to save. And so I did. But I tested a few other games, So
you did buy a memory pack, or you?
I did actually, and then I went out and I bought a memory pack. I bought a third party. There's a few companies out there that have since done.
You actually have to use a memory pack for the memory pack games
if you want to say, and the same stuff. Like if
it's
I want
treating
to play,
it like when you got an EverDrive, it is treating it as if you've got the cartridge.
That's cool.
There.
That card is in the cartridge slot of the console as far as the console is concerned.
That's neat. That's really cool.
So by the same token,
I was gonna say, I don't know if you follow Crix on Twitter. He's the guy that
I don't follow him, but I mean I bought it from him. So
yeah, but if you follow him on Twitter, it's really fun because
KRIKZZ.
Yeah, he actually shows his process. Currently, he is working on the Turbo EverDrive for the Turbo graphics, and it's fun to watch him show the board as he's going through it and showing it its early work and everything. It's a good if you're into that sort of scene, it's kind of fun to follow Crix. Yeah,
definitely. But anyway, so
I'm checking it out, man. This is really cool.
By the same token, for the few games that required it, Perfect Dark, Donkey Kong 64.
Well, hold on, it's $200 for an EverDrive cart.
Oh yeah,
Good
I
Lord.
mean that's the Oh, sorry, punch the mic. That's the MSRP of the.
There are several models.
Yeah.
I personally purchased the X5.
Okay. All right.
Which ran me 100 and change before shipping.
Got it. Okay.
Now
but the other thing is.
The Neo Geo one.
It varies.
It's
$600
$600
depending on the complexity.
Yeah.
It varies.
Sure.
and this is one of the reasons why
I see it. $120 for the X5 on Amazon.
Right.
Okay.
So I went down this is why I went down the method or the path of getting the Mister for all the consoles that I did not own, because as JJ already pointed out, an EverDrive for certain consoles can run in the multiple hundreds of dollars per console.
Yeah.
The Mister was 400 and change, and that was pre-assembled. I could probably shave off a few tens of dollars here and there by buying all the parts and assembling it myself, which I'm probably capable of. I just didn't feel like doing it. But I don't have to buy EverDrives or procure those consoles and all of that other stuff. So
Yeah.
the N64 I did have, and I haven't, I was interested in maintaining that. So I did go down that route for the N64. So I probably put in like 2 hours into Paper Mario. I've never played Paper Mario before.
The original one is so good.
So I'm like 90 minutes, 2 hours into Paper Mario. It looks very, very good over S-Video. And that was one of the other things that I picked up was an S-Video cable for the N64.
It's you have a CRT TV. I do not have a CRT TV anymore, unfortunately. I'm gonna have to look around for one. But I did find the surprisingly the N64 to HDMI converter is only $28. If
Do
I
not
want to
buy
go
those.
there. Do not buy those.
Those-
the good ones run in the neighborhood of like 120 to 130.
I have the Eon for the N64, which is, I mean, it's using it's not just like transforming it to an HDMI. It is it is making the signal. It's cleaning up the signal. It's killing out the latency. If it's that cheap, what it's doing is really rudimentary. I wouldn't even call it upscaling. I would call it like signal matching, which sounds like signal matching. That's good. It's not. But yeah, I mean, those types of things are not very good. But and there is a significant the delay from input delay can get pretty rough.
Is the biggest issue. Yeah. And that's the other thing that you pay for when you buy the like $120, $130 one. Yeah. But yeah, Dali, I will recommend. I mean, I personally found my CRT on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, I'm going to look for it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Mine, I got mine for $40 for a 27-inch. We can all have. I'm not going to have this conversation right now, but I'm happy to share with you anything that I learned.
Gotcha.
You got a few good brands: Sony, Toshiba, JVC.
Linus Tech Tips recently did a video.
Yeah, I know. He fucked it all up.
Yeah, he fucked it up. He ruined it for everybody. But
anyway, but yeah, it looks really good over N64. Looks very, very good over S-Video. There's been a lot of comparison videos out there about S-Video versus. There's been RGB mods for N64 for quite a while. The quality difference between S-Video and RGB is surprisingly low. And so that's why I was just like, I don't need to mod it. I'll put S-Video. I'm good. But then what I've really been putting the most amount of time into, because I actually stopped that, and I had my NES Mini out. Okay. And for whatever reason, a couple weeks ago, I booted up and I put on the first Legend of Zelda for the NES. And I had played it like with my wife for like half an hour, and for anybody who's played the original Legend of Zelda, it's kind of an amorphous mess.
Yes.
It doesn't. You don't really know anything.
Yeah. If you've
which
never
is great.
played,
That's the whole point.
I don't know about great. It's good.
I don't know. I'd say great.
I'd say great.
It kind of is. It's very easy to do a lot and die a lot. Now, granted, it's good because there's no real penalty to that. Like the game doesn't hold you back for dying a bunch. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's super frustrating. There's a specific order of the dungeons that's in the game. Like they're literally marked dungeon 1.1, 2, 3, 4, 5. and that's marked in the UI, so you actually can tell. It's not that hard once you figure it out. He's like, oh, I just finished dungeon 1.1 and now I'm in dungeon 1.4. What did I do? Actually, that's impossible. You can't do that based on how you get the powers, or the upgrades of the power-ups. But that being said, I'm in dungeon 1-5 at this point. Okay. I was playing it on the NES Mini, and the input delay that's on the NES Mini was significant enough that I could not.
Really?
I could not continue it.
I have a. Do you have a? I don't remember. Do you have a Switch?
I do have a Switch as well.
Yeah. Okay, so here's an interesting thing. So, if you go into this play the Switch version of Zelda, I highly recommend going in and logging in under a Japanese account and downloading the Famicom version.
Why? Mm-hmm.
Because the Famicom version is different than the NES version because it's a Famicom Disk System game.
Yeah.
And so the audio is almost completely different.
Interesting.
And some of the boss stuff is a little different too. So
I should see then if there is a Famicom ROM version, because
you have to be careful. You have to be careful with playing the ROM because it uses the microphone.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So
for
that's why
for the ocarina, right?
It's for the I forget what the keys or no, not the whatever the big-eared mice are. Mm-hmm. They are sensitive to sound.
That's right. That's right. I forget what I mean, I figured out that I have to shoot bow and arrow at them. That's what I know.
But they took all that stuff out for any compilation after the fact.
Yeah. And also for the US version because there was no
microphone. Yeah.
There was no microphone in the US version. Yeah. Anyway, we're diverging a little bit, but I mean I should see if there is a US version that uses the CD version of the audio though.
Yeah.
I would bet that somebody has spliced that together by now.
It's really
I very well might already be using it and just don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've been doing. So I swapped over and I moved over to the Mister. I don't know if that delay is from TV settings. I know that's actually pretty prevalent. Is input delay being from cinematic mode on TVs? They like to kind of change color saturation and stuff with the deficit of input delay. It doesn't matter when you're watching a video because when the video and the audio are repaired, it doesn't matter if there is a delay overall from the HDMI source. It does when your source is a video game console. So I've noticed that on a few other things. I just said, fuck it, I'll go and play on the CRT because it's probably going to look better on the CRT anyway.
Sure.
And it does.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm on Dungeon 5 at this point. And what I was mostly surprised about is it's very hard. It's a very difficult game. But it's also like when I think back about what the original Nintendo is, it's incredibly impressive.
It did the time and
I mean there's so much that's in it that the game does.
Yeah.
And compared to the other games, some of the other games that are out there at the same time, it's almost kind of jaw-dropping about how much they managed to include within it.
I would strongly recommend the Game & Watch version, which is for $25 on sale at Walmart right now. It's because it's a it includes Zelda 1, 2, and Link's Awakening, I believe in those. And Link to the Past isn't on that, is it? I don't.
No.
I would be very surprised.
Yeah.
But very faithful, and I have it around here somewhere. I was literally playing it the other day. I've played Zelda on every device, the NES Mini, on the Switch, on the original Nintendo. I played it again real recently. I love playing it on this I played on the 3D. I love playing it on this little device because it felt so natural in and I don't know which version of Zelda they used. I don't know if it was the original U.S. version or aspects of the
I
Japanese
think
version or it's a hybrid.
I think it's the Wii version because
Okay,
Almost
the
all of the new
yeah,
ones are
yes,
adapted from the Wii. If there is a
yeah,
Wii version of the ROM, they
yeah.
have used the Wii version on
okay,
further
Yeah,
revisions.
and it might have been like the GBA release or something because they at a point they fixed up the localization and changed
okay.
some of the bad English of it.
Yeah, some when you walk into some of the rooms, it's pretty
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I have a hardcover book, but the website has all the same information on Legends of Localization.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
They put out a significant book that shows the entire localization process of the original Legend of Zelda, and even compares like wave files of the Japanese version and the American
Interesting.
version and stuff. It is a fascinating book. It goes into incredible detail about every aspect of the localization process of Zelda, and there's also Earthbound. And it's highly recommend Legends of Localization.
Awesome sauce. Awesome sauce. That's it.
Other than that, trying to think if I played anything else. I don't think so. What does my Steam say? Did I play any other games on Steam? Library. Recent games. Probably Vampire Survivors.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Good man. Good man.
Yeah, last 2 weeks, more than an hour. So yeah, but I mean that's just kind of like a
Very
constant.
easy game
Yeah.
to get
I
lost.
mean, like it's not hard to like
Yeah.
have that be in the list.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm gonna hop in. Well, before I do, JJ, are you gonna talk about the review game that you've been playing?
Well, I got two that the one that we were bugged about. I can talk about.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll let you go first.
But I got another game that I've been playing that isn't a review thing. I'll talk about that one first, just because
Sure.
it's going to be quick because I'm still kind of deep in the weeds on it.
Yeah.
I have been playing Midnight Suns.
Ooh, yeah.
That game is really fucking good. It's weird. The sort of Persona style social aspect is fascinating in this. Where it's just like,
I heard it's a so wild addition to it, but it works.
Yeah,
apparently.
like it's literally it's like I'm gonna take Nico out on a date to like this fucking tree farm, and then she'll give me a fucking swimsuit to wear in the hot springs and fucking.
I love it.
And then you go
talking about,
and then you go fight some crazy evil venom demon, and life's good. I like the combat in
Cool.
Midnight Suns. It's you hear card based and you expect the worst from sort of like this mass market sort of Marvel like especially based like Snap came out and like it's like it's like a weird Snap. No. It actually works really well, and they change up the formula from fights from time to time by having certain like there's certain things you have to do and stuff, but like the combat really works really well, and sort of trying to figure out your ideal deck going in per hero, and like upgrading your deck and learning the best routes and learning how to sort of chain things together and how to it's like it somehow feels nothing like XCOM, but also incredibly like XCOM at the same time. Yeah, because you get all of that sort of that XCOM strategy feeling of moving around the map and like trying to like find your best location on the map to make these attacks mean something. And every hero has their own special thing, it's like I created a portal over here that I can knock an enemy into, and it makes them go to the other side of the map and take double damage, and it'll throw them into this electrical breaker that will add shock damage to them, and there's poison, and it's like it's got this weird almost Pokemon thing going on with its gameplay in a weird way. And it's campy. It's super campy.
Perfect.
All of the dialogue, it just feels like it's straight out of a comic book. To almost like cringe levels at times. It mostly just disregards the MCU as a
Perfect.
whole.
Perfect.
The only character that really feels like he's out of the MCU is Tony Stark. Like, he feels like the Robert Downey Jr. Tony Stark.
Spoiler, yeah.
I
It's
feel- I-
hard to get away, but from
What-
that,
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not surprised because like he played it. He played that character the longest out of anybody in the MCU, but also because I don't know, he just did a really good job of it. So it's kind of like defining.
But
Like it's like saying that I don't know, the Wolverine was kind of Hugh Jackman-ish. It's like it's not that crazy.
Yeah.
But I agree with Dally that I think it's probably good that overall it was not tied to it.
Yeah, because
especially considering what Midnight Suns is. Which is unrepresented in the MCU. It's like it would be weird if they tried to be like, let's tie this in.
Yeah. But like even like, Doctor Strange doesn't feel like Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange. He feels like the comic book version of Doctor Strange.
That was gonna be my point. Was that like okay, that's fine because Benedict Cumberbatch doesn't feel like the comic version.
Exactly.
Strange,
it's like in all of it, like Blade feels appropriately like the Blade from the comics. It's Spider-Man is definitely like a more mouthy. He's even more so than like. He doesn't even feel like the Sony PlayStation Spider-Man. He feels closer to his comic counterpart. It leans into sort of the comic storylines and concepts a lot harder.
It's more of a comic game than it is a movie game.
Yeah, it's like even the Guardians of the Galaxy game felt like it was more like this is like it's not the MCU, but it's the MCU.
Two in a row, they Marvel with these kind of big releases. 2 in a row, because Guardians was our game of the year. Right? Year.
I think that it's Midnight Suns kind of came out, and it's nobody picked it up. I don't know how it's going, but I can tell you that it's actually just like a genuinely enjoyable Marvel game. Like
it dropped in December, didn't it?
Yeah,
I think that's probably why it's a weird.
It's a tough release time.
Yeah.
But highly recommend.
Awesome. Here's what I'm gonna read. I did just a real quick Midnight Sun search. On Twitter, and at Retrograde Tom says, and I got to show this to you. I'm going to share my screen in a second. It says, Midnight Suns is an amazing product. I went oil painting with Captain Marvel, and she liked the freshly mowed grass scented candle I gave her. So I unlocked a legendary bathing suit. I don't know how this game exists, but I hope they make more. And let me show you this legendary bathing suit and why we all need to pick up this game.
It's so fucking wild.
There it is.
I know exactly what's going on.
Look at It's
awesome. The fact that they let you make your own character and really don't limit you to what you can do with your created character.
What a game.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Does your character that you didn't like make superpowers for your character? Like how's that?
No,
work?
Because your character is sort of
or is your character like an agent?
Your character is has been reawakened from death to help fight the evil demons. Like they are part of the family of these evil demons that have taken over.
Okay, so your character, we're one of them that was recycled. Like we were brought back to be one of the good guys instead.
This isn't a spoiler because you learn from the sort of the big villainess that they show in it. That's that's like she's she's family. You are related to her.
Right.
So it's just like you are forever destined. You sealed her away centuries ago and died doing it. So you've been asleep in an altar being watched after by like the Scarlet Witch for so long and stuff like that. Like, so like you're sort of like by default you're the Hunter. That's your character's generic name. And you're just a magic user basically. So
okay.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. What's the other game?
The first up, Outshine, game I got for review. A little while ago. Yeah. So Outshine is a typing game. Uh, it's an arcade typing game.
Hmm.
Uh, it's I don't know. Does anybody have any experience with typing games in the past?
In
Anybody?
the
I
late
mean, I mean,
80s.
I played Mario Teaches Typing.
Okay.
There you
I
go. Yeah.
played
Mavis
type.
Beacon.
Mavis Beacons.
No.
Yeah,
I mean, actually,
typing.
realistically, I only have two, which is Mario Teaches Typing, and then Typing of the Dead.
Typing of the Dead. So it's definitely closer to Typing of the Dead in terms of what it's going for.
I figured it would be.
Yeah. It's definitely. It's kind of like. Did anyone play the Tron Runner game from like a handful of years ago when Tron Legacy came out? I didn't think so.
Yeah, I did. I think I did. Yeah.
Aesthetically, it's that. It's
Oh,
kind of like
yeah.
it's kind of like that and Res in a way, like what it's going for.
Interesting.
And it really is just like a score based typing runner. There's boss fights, there's checkpoints and stuff, and you move too. You have like a shield, you have movement, you move left and right,
Oh,
you've
there we
got
go.
special attacks.
How do you move left and
bombs.
right?
Spacebar and stuff. It's just you're still like you're still having to like use keys that aren't letter keys. You
No,
can use
yeah,
the
I get
arrow.
that. Can you
Yeah,
choose left or right?
Yes. You can use like the arrows and move like the direction you need to go.
So
and stuff.
by typing, that's how you defeat enemies? Is that what
Yes, by type the word appears over their head.
so like sail
and-
or whatever. Okay.
Yeah, and like you
Replay
like
button here.
and then you'll like get to like these checkpoints and you have to like type like the checkpoints are basically like lore dumps where you're getting like these like poetry written about like the history of like this weird techno world that you're in, like you see right there.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the full typing ones.
Yeah.
So how are you shooting as you're like just going along?
Just typing, you're not really actively.
It automatically shoots.
Yeah,
at
every
the-
letter
got it.
fires your gun basically.
Oh, so okay, so you literally have to type bay and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
hold. Okay,
Yeah,
got
and
it.
that's how you defeat the enemies.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and it's just high score. I mean, it really is. It's just like you're stringing combos together. You're getting, and it has boss fights. So you like get to the end, and there's just like things will be like swinging around, hiding the words or whatever. So you're like you're trying to get in real quick to get the attack in or whatever. You see, you're dodging stuff in that one. You've got a shield that you can activate from time to time that protects
Yeah,
you
I
from
said
damage.
that was in the trailer. Like you have to like
Yeah.
in order to pass through a barrier or something
Yeah,
like that.
and the things that you have to attack by typing do attack back, like they're shooting at you and stuff.
Oh.
And so you can only take like I think it's like 5 hits before it's like game over.
And you avoid hits by hopping left and right, or
Yeah.
Or moving left
or
and
by
right,
de- or by
bu-
defeating them.
or by defeating them before they can shoot you.
Got it,
Because
got
that's really it's really just testing your speed at a point of how fast you can.
There's the shield.
there's
the
that shield.
right there. And so sometimes there's like hidden words that like you'll see like kind of under the track that kind of gets you. They're longer words and
Power ups and spells.
power ups
Oh,
and
nice.
stuff. It's
I've missed typing games, to be honest.
yeah, it's probably like it's a satisfying typing game just because it's not trying to do anything special other than just be flashy arcade action, but like hiding it, like that's how they're hiding the fact that this really is just like a typing trainer. It's one of the better ones I've ever played. Like I don't think the Typing of the Dead's kind of iconic, but I don't think it's that great of a game.
It's not.
It's not a good typing game, and it's just more silly than anything. This is actually both a good typing game and it's good to look at. And
Well, Typing in the Dead feels like especially
yeah.
silly because it has an actual game that it's been riffed off of, right?
yeah, yeah,
And so like that it takes for as fun as Typing in the Dead can be,
yeah,
and was for the
Yeah.
like when it came out,
yeah.
you know that it's this is a for fun thing that was made because the original was popular. So
Yeah.
that detracts from it in a certain
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, this is a typing game designed to be a typing game. It's not making fun of anything. It's not being campy. It's an arcade action game that just happens to use typing as the medium of combat.
Nice.
And it works really well. It plays. It's a great little package. It looks, sounds, plays. I mean, it plays well is tricky because like it really is just typing, and as long as they've got like the placement of everything right, then it should play well. Like, just having it feel like you're playing an action game says a lot. Like, it doesn't feel like you're playing a typing game. It just feels like you happen to be playing a typing game that's really an action game. So I really liked it. I think it's a really good game, and it's not expensive, and it's on Steam for right now. Obviously, it's not like this is going to be on the Switch or anything.
Yeah,
it's a typing game.
Unless you, I mean, some of the consoles you can plug in a keyboard, so who knows?
Yeah, get that GameCube Fantasy Star controller.
Oh my god.
But
Nice.
that the other, I have to look up the title because I always forget because it's a very long title. I made sure because the game's not out yet. It comes out tomorrow, but I had to go back to the email to make sure the embargo.
Vengeful Guardian Moonrider.
Vengeful Guardian : Moonrider. Yes, I just was looking at it. Holy shit, this game's cool, man. It's.
I'm gonna guess this is a JJS JJ.
Oh,
game.
this is a fucking JJ ass game. It's like it's a 16-bit body horror Mega Man game. It's fucking wild, man.
What?
Yeah.
Body horror Mega Man game.
Yeah, like you break out, like you can see you've got like these tubes hanging off of you and stuff. You're like a cyborg that's been crafted to basically it's post-apocalyptic, and you're like you're holding down the human race while technology takes over and is doing everything. But like for whatever reason, your particular robot has been given a conscience, and that immediately makes him say "fuck these guys." The first stage, like the first like breakout moment, is like when the game first starts. You like bust out of your thing, and like the other guardians that were in the room are like terrified, and like one of them's like banging on the door to get out, and another one's like cowering against the wall, and you just walk up to him and like slice him with your sword, and he just like blows up into a pink mist, and the guy that's terrified knocking at the door you just absolutely destroy, and then you just start walking through these.
What's the thing in the background?
It's just this fucking robot that is tormenting you through this fucking forest.
He is a guardian that is vengeful.
Yeah, no, you're the vengeful guardian.
You're the vengeful guardian.
He's just a guardian out to destroy your shit.
He's just a guardian that's an asshole.
He's just a normal guardian. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing, and that's protecting the...
This is a fucking SNES game.
It is. It's got like weird Mode 7 shit going on. And,
I love how they do the color. It's not just like on the big boss right there. It's not just like the black around. It's like that brownish.
Yeah. It's like the graphics are incredible. The music is insane. Like I was like.
I will say this is one of those things where, like, you know, one of the biggest things when they do a 16-bit game is that, and you know that it's plus or minus, you know, it's like double-edged sword, which is that 16-bit. It's like, well, like this is 16-bit style, but the colors are way past what 16-bit is capable of.
Yeah,
this is not one of those.
No.
You know, it's got the phase out of enemies, which is like one of the classic things that SNES and similar games did, because you couldn't show all of it at once, so they phased out the enemies in order to be able to show more elements on one screen at one time.
It definitely it has all the like trademark of this type of game for the Sega Genesis in like the like the early 90s. Every bit of it feels like Strider but Mega Man, because it is like you can see you've got a health bar and an energy bar.
Yeah, the
and-
top left, of course, is Mega
Yeah.
Man. I mean, like,
Yeah. And obviously you got wall jumps and shit, just like, like a Strider or Ninja Gaiden or something. Or Shinobi. Shinobi is what I was thinking.
yeah, the only games that have ever done wall jumps.
Yeah. But
It's the robot's
when you
hand that's coming out of the ground.
when you
there.
defeat a boss, you get their moves. I mean,
Nice.
it is Mega Man, and I see Playland says it's a lot of push forward or die, and that's very true. You have to really figure out your momentum while attacking. You have to be really comfortable with your attacking while
what was,
maintaining forward momentum.
What was the one that was really SNES like that came out 2 years ago?
It was you reviewed it. Paladin, was it the
Panzer Paladins?
Panzer Paladin? Is that the one you're thinking of?
No, this because
Not-
the people
Not
that
Messenger, but what was it
Oh,
called?
the messenger was part of it, right? Because the messenger
Yeah.
would do
No,
that.
unrelated.
yeah,
Okay.
the
Shit.
people that made this made a game like kind of like in that same vein a while ago called Blazing Chrome.
Yeah.
Fuck, I cannot remember what it was because it was
They've
also
created a
not
few
that.
games. Arcade Crew did.
Yeah, they're really, really, really good at this. This is like this is just like Tribute.
Yes,
and
Tribute
guys like
games,
that,
yes.
where like I said, Panzer Paladin did a fantastic job at feeling like feeling like a Super Nintendo, Metroidvania and stuff. This isn't a Metroidvania, by the way. This is just a straight platformer.
Okay.
There is a little backtracking, but it's so minor that it doesn't really
Maybe
too much.
was it? I don't think it was last year. I thought it was 2021, but it could have been 2022. It was also very similar. It was not a Metroidvania, but it was very similar to this, where it was just straight level based, go through.
Yeah.
And God help me, I cannot remember.
I can't
what
wait
it
to
was.
get I can't wait because I'm sure you're gonna say it and I'm like, oh yeah, I reviewed that or some
Yeah,
nonsense.
exactly.
Yeah, I definitely didn't. I did not review it.
No, but JJ probably did.
Yeah. There's a good chance because I lapped these up when Dally said, "Does anyone want to review this?" I'm like, "Yeah," because look at it. Look at it.
Playland says he knows what I'm talking about, and you better tell me what the game is right now.
Listen, you.
You tell me what the game is called immediately.
But this looks really cool. This looks.
Yeah, it comes.
That's so
Yeah,
nice.
it scratches that Genesis itch really, really well. Genesis games in particular are very hard to sort of replicate. Everyone goes too hard, as we were talking about earlier with like the colors and sort of like the music or the concept or whatever. But like, you look at this and you would be hard pressed to not think that this was a remade Genesis game. Of some sort, or like a
Even
modern
that
day,
background with the fiery
yeah,
trees.
th-
is
it
such
looks
a-
exactly
looks
like
like it.
Yeah, that's exactly like what Sonic the Hedgehog 3 looks like.
Sure.
It's so this is like it's like Shinobi, like the Streets of Rage. It has the same aesthetic as every single one of those games, and I love it. This is a short lister for me. I can tell already. It's
Oh, the
gory.
blood. Oh, that's awesome.
It's gory. I love it. I love a good sort of like 16. I like taking 16-bit games and making them needlessly gory.
It took that long to clear that area. That's awesome.
7-minute level stage. It's mostly short. It's a pretty short game, but like the levels are
So cool.
are so big. Like it feels like Mega Man. It really is a Mega Man game at the end of the day. Just it's Wily Wars or whatever the Genesis version was. So yeah, love it. I never knew this game was not on my radar.
I didn't even know this game existed until they sent the email and said, "Hey, we're coming out with this game. You want to review?" All right.
Yeah, it
JJ?
comes out. Yeah, it comes out tomorrow. I think I think the 12th is when it comes out on everything. I've been playing it on PlayStation because they gave us a
Okay.
code for the PlayStation 5 version. I was a little disappointed because I was like, I want to play this on the Steam Deck, but the thing did say that the Steam Deck version is not. Don't, please, if you're going to review it on Steam Deck, talk about it separately outside of the review
Oh,
because
interesting.
I want to go. And so, anyways, great game, love it. Thumbs up for me. I do want to go back to Midnight Suns for a second and just complain about one thing, and
Yeah.
that's that cloud saves do not work in Midnight Suns.
Oh,
So
no.
I started
that.
playing it
What are you playing it on?
I started playing it on my laptop,
Okay.
and then I booted it up on my Steam Deck, and nothing. I have to start the game over. It's a known issue. They say they're working on it, but it's been a month and a half now, and nothing.
By the way,
Yeah.
I mean, listen, software development is very difficult. But
Yeah.
as far as deploying onto Steam is concerned, cloud saving is a relatively simple operation, and what it means is that they failed in using it as a contingency from the ground all the way up.
Yeah.
And they literally, like, somebody, or actually realistically nobody said anything to them. Nobody on the team was like, cloud saves is something that we should consider, and
Well-
the flag was never ticked on.
So here's, and it's also really weird because it recognizes cloud saves. It when you
do you
finish
mean?
when you finish playing the game, it cloud saves is there. It shows it uploading your cloud save to the cloud. It exists. People have been able to find their saves in like like I went to Reddit and there was like a thread with like Linux distro bullshit on how to recover my cloud save so I can play it. I'm like, I am not going through it. And the game used to launch with a launcher, and it doesn't launch with a launcher anymore because I think it was breaking the Steam Deck version entirely and stuff. It was just, it's fucking insane. I don't know what's going on, but it's
Okay.
it makes me mad because clearly, like, everyone's like, no, the save's there. It's like it's it's so fucking yeah.
This is.
Anyways.
I will say though that even though we missed an episode last week, we're totally making up for it this week with a 2-hour banger. It's
Listen,
real
I was
bang.
gonna say, I mean, listen, well, as long as we don't pass 2 hours, we're good.
Yeah.
No,
I
yeah,
think
no,
if you can't see it, but I got a 3D printer back there.
Nice.
That's what that yellow box is. Before this started, I started printing a Millennium puzzle.
a human heart.
Yeah,
And it's ready.
a Yu-Gi-Oh! Millennium puzzle, and it said it was going to take 2 hours. So if this is done by the end
we're
of the
in trouble.
podcast, you're in trouble. So
That's the next thing on my to-buy list. So what I've been playing a few things. In lieu of, and I've got to post this video. In lieu of a podcast last week, I ended up went back to my tradition, which was every once in a while, at the beginning of the year, and this I call it a tradition now. It's only the second time I've done it. Is I play a bunch of video games based on developed by Detroit or Michigan-based developers. And we actually have a huge indie game community and developer community here in the state of Michigan. Finji is located in Michigan. So there's a lot of companies. There's a game company across the street from my office, and I drive past them every day, which is wild. So I started playing some games, and I played a few heart-shaped games developed. We Are the Caretakers. I don't know if you guys have heard of that one. It's sort of a strategy type of turn-based game. There was Mayo Force had Insect Adventure. I played Insect Adventure. That was kind of fun. Sort of a 2D platforming, Insectvania type of thing. But the one that I'm going to talk about right now, again, I purchased these games. They were all worth picking up. This was available on Steam. It's called Delta Manifold, and I'm going to share the video of myself playing it because they don't really have a trailer out. So you're gonna see my face twice, probably with the same hat that I'm wearing now. And yeah, it is the same hat. That's awesome. Look at that, beautiful. But let me just show this. That's cool right there. That's me. What's going on here? Sorry, my mouse is acting up here. So you see this kind of game, right? You're sort of a 3D platforming. It looks a little familiar. What could be kind of familiar about this game, JJ? Visually, what does this start to look like?
What am I looking? This looks like Metroid.
It's a Metroid Prime inspired game, which is so cool.
I kind of like the lo-fi, low poly.
That's what I was gonna get.
Metroid HUD. That's kind of neat.
It's cool, it's real simple.
Is it just? Are you just scanning shit?
No, you're actually shooting stuff. There is shooting involved in this.
I want a Metroid game where you just, but it's just the lore, just going around scanning
that's bug
shit.
snacks, right? Is that basically what bug snack is? But no, this is it's a Metroid Prime Metroidvania Light. The game's only like a couple hours long. I mean, you kind of go around, do some exploration, some shooting, maybe like 2-3 hours long. You can scan these little buggers, like these little crab dudes, and then you kill them, which is just fantastic. Like, here you go, scanning it. Oh, nice, gentle crab. It ain't so gentle after you blast it out of the water. But it was just such a nice game to get back into, because I was missing Metroid Prime. Jeff Grubb said, he said we were getting it. We were getting Metroid Prime, and we did not get Metroid Prime.
That's why he's got short hair now.
That's why he's got short hair now. And so I figured I'm gonna look for a game. I didn't know what kind of game this was until I started playing. I didn't look out for it. It's
okay, good. Thank God. You were killing me there.
Sorry. I was talking to the folks in the chat at the time, and so
you're like Dean when he was playing Cuphead.
But no, it's really fun. It's a laid back. I don't want to call it a cozy Metroidvania, but it's kind of a cozy Metroid Prime game.
It's Metroid Prime, like by way of like the Nintendo 64. It's like
yes,
it's like Turok, but
exactly.
It's Metroid Prime.
Yep. So good, in other words. But I really enjoyed it. It's a simple enough game that it's very easy to control, and it becomes very familiar. And then
that bloom, wow,
that bloom, baby. But no, it's basically one person development team. That putting out these games and a few other games. You can Aerosong Sylvan Sylvan on Twitter, and just look for the game on Steam. They have the same. SylvanGames.itch is their itch page. They got a bunch of their projects on there. But I really enjoyed it. For anybody who's missing out on Metroid Prime, this could be an opportunity. So that was one thing I played. The other thing I've been into is Crisis Core Reunion. I decided, you know what? I rarely go gung ho into RPGs lately, so I started playing it towards, I think I was an hour and a half in when we recorded the last podcast episode on the 26th or 27th, whenever it was. And since then, I am now essentially going to walk into the final battle tonight. I might have to do that in Crisis Core Reunion. And really enjoyed Crisis Core Reunion. It's not a phenomenal RPG by any means. It's kind of grindy, and you really are just sort of pushing forward, and it is definitely early 2000s Square RPG. But I appreciate for what they did with it. I'm glad they re-released it. I'm glad they updated the visuals. I'm playing on the Switch. It looks fine. And Cyber Shadow.
Cyber Shadow kicks ass.
I was having a little chat sidebar there. I want to interrupt everybody when they were in their flow.
No, but Cyber Shadow's wicked. I picked it up on one of the winter sales. But
Cyber Shadow was a fucking tough ass game.
It's tough,
by the way.
Purposefully.
But I mean, like that was Cyber Shadow was just that kind of game. That's like, this is a game that wanted to feel like
also
you were
one
playing.
Developer for Cyber Shadow.
You were like, this is a game where that developer wanted you to feel like you were playing an old console.
Did I review Cyber Shadow? I might have.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I
It was
definitely
one of those
played
ones
through
I
Cyber Shadow.
thought Cyber Shadow came out on Game Pass, which is probably one of the reasons
Yeah,
why.
Yeah.
It says Ninja Gaiden on steroid. Yes,
Yeah.
it's like a mix of Ninja Gaiden and a few other things, and yeah.
It was a tough one. It was a tough one.
Yes, it's tough.
Yeah.
But the Crisis Core conversation, also cloud saves. We're saving cloud. But no, that got me thinking because everybody started posting their annual New Year's resolutions. I saw people posting the list. Here's my list of games that I'm completing throughout the year. I'm just going to keep this list going forward. And I thought, I should post a list of games that I'm complete, like the Twitter thread. And I thought, you know what? Instead of that, I should give myself a goal of games that I want to finish. I know there's folks that are like, I'm going to do 52 games this year. I'm like, oh, slow down, bro. You're playing like indie 20-minute indie games.
Is it Half-Life 2? Are you going to play Half-Life 2?
I want to get into
a generation.
So I wanted to get into gaming resolutions. I do have a list of gaming resolutions, as well as other media consumption resolutions. And I know some folks are like, I want to, play this game, or I want to become a Pokemon superstar. Mine is to clear out 12 games off my backlog, because they've just been sitting there, and it's about time I just complete them. And all these games are games I have physical copies of. That way I can clear the cases away and open up some shelf space. Crisis Core was one of them. These, again, none of these are new games, not taking into account any new games that I'll be purchasing going forward, but definitely Crisis Core. The next one is probably Fire Emblem Three Houses. I never completed that game. And then I'm only saying it because Engage comes out in like 2 weeks. And I figured, you know what, if I want to get into Engage, which I'm a huge Fire Emblem fan, I've got to get through Three Houses. And so Three Houses on that list. I am towards close to the end of Pokemon Arceus. So I'm gonna complete that bad boy. It's obviously Splatoon 3 and Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope, because they're towards the end of the year. But then, and Bayonetta 3 I never completed. But then I have Horizon Forbidden West on my list. Never completed that game. I thought it's about time Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm like, it's about time I actually completed that game.
Yeah.
Doom Eternal. Never completed Doom Eternal. I'm somewhere in the middle of that game, so I think I'm gonna plow. It's only like an 8-hour game, anyways. I'm just gonna plow through that sucker. And I have 12 games on the list. I have divided into short term and long term. So I gave you a few of the short term ones, and those are the definite 12 that I'm going to complete 12 games, 12 of the games off this list throughout the year. I have long-term games, which are, I'm just going to chip away at these. They're going to be the games that I always come back to, like Xenoblade 3. Going to come back to that. Dragon Quest 11. I got to get back on that train. So I'm just going to they're not part of my major total. I'm just going to chip away at them throughout the year. But the one game that was on my list, and you ruined the punchline, was Half-Life 2.
Yeah.
I'm going to actually complete Half-Life 2 this year. That's on my 12 months.
Listen, if you can just get through Half-Life 2, we won't even hold it against you if you don't do like
anything else.
the episodes 1 and 2, man.
I'll just focus on Half-Life 2. That's on my list. But yeah, expect it by the end of this year. I'll have completed Half-Life 2. But I have a nice list here of things that I'm gonna complete throughout the year. Control. All these are games that are within different states of completion. So I'm just gonna get through these, and then I'm not worried about anything else. And
you want to know a nice secret about Control that they don't really advertise too much? If you really just want to finish that game, you can go into the accessibility options and adjust the everything about that game. If you just want to enjoy, if you just want to finish that game, you can make it so you have infinite everything and go to town.
I may end up doing something like that. I haven't done that yet because I really love that game. But
Control. I would just turn that shit down to easy and just go.
Yeah. That's what
Yeah,
JJ's saying. Turned down to easy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like, you don't even need to, like, I don't even think you need to mess with accessibility options.
Yeah.
Just switch it down to like, it's not that hard.
It's not. It's
not.
Even
the
in
boss,
normal, it's not. Yeah.
Like the boss fights can get a pain in the ass, but that doesn't mean hard. They're just irritating.
Got it. So yeah, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll knock that game out. But like I said, I got 12 games that I'm definitely
Gotta get ready
completing.
for Alan Wake 2, baby.
I mean, this is the reason I picked these games. The majority of them were because there's sequels coming out this year or tangentially related to some stuff, and others were because they legit came out right at the end of last year, and I'm trying to put 2022 behind me before I go any further. I also did Zach says Imagine Mission the podcast. So I want to reply back to him that we're still going. Although I want to finish before 2 hours. I'm also
it's not going to happen, man. It's 5 minutes away.
I'm also reading 12 books and going through that. And I've got the Kojima's book is on deck next. I got to finish that one up. But you guys have any gaming resolutions that you're looking forward to do? Cleaning out catalogs or picking up a new style?
I don't have that problem. I don't really have a back cat. I mean, like, if I don't finish a game, I just don't finish a game, and it doesn't bother me. I don't think about it.
It bothers me like crazy.
I don't have that problem. I typically finish games, but it may take a while, but I don't have this crazy, like, back catalog ever.
I used to be bad with FOMO and picking up, of course, and I bought all these new games anyways that I showed you guys earlier. I used to be very bad with FOMO, which was new game, gotta buy it. So don't even think twice, pick it up. And then I realized if I just wait 2 weeks, it drops in price. And then if I wait 2.5 months, it drops in price even more. And then I may have time to start thinking about it. And then if I wait a year and a half, then it's probably really cheap and I can get it on Black Friday. And that's kind of what I've reverted to in a lot of these ways. But I mean, I wish I had more time to sit and play. I do now. Like I said, dedicating time
but I guess that's also like that's the I work a 4/10 schedule, so I have 3 days off and no kids. So
that of, yeah. Sorry, Brenda at PAX East. But no, it's that is always advantageous. My problem is I like to work out, and I'm not in great shape or anything. I eat.
I clearly am not a big fan of working out.
But I put time into working out, which sucks up, my lunchtime because I make my lunch and I work out, and then I do a little bit of workout after work, and then having the family thing kind of changes. But in Playland says his goal was to finish 12 games, and he barely did it in 2020. 2020 was different. I completed a lot of games in 2020 because there was fuck all to do anywhere.
2020 was different for me too because that was the year before my daughter was born and it was COVID. Yeah. It was like there was a lot of things different about 2020.
My gaming habits definitely changed after.
Yeah.
But all right.
I get expect more resolution-wise. Expect more comic book stuff on the website.
I mean, I would personally, I would love to finish same as you, Dally, Three Houses. I got to the first battle where people could die, and then somebody died,
where I got,
and I literally never went back.
That's exactly the point that I got.
For the same reason, which is that like on my first playthrough, I was like, I'm gonna do the setting where if people die, they die permanently, and there's no justifiable reason why I should have done it. I've literally never beaten a Fire Emblem game before in my whole life. Why would I start out my play of my first Fire Emblem game from start to finish and be like, if somebody dies, they're gone for their whole game?
Yeah,
it's stupid.
It makes the game so difficult.
Yeah, it's like it's a different kind of game. Like I'm here to like have fun, play the game, beat the levels. And
just realize that wasn't an option early on in Fire Emblem. It was if they died.
But and that's the thing that's frustrating is that like it wasn't a thing, but now it is. So I should use it while it is.
Yep.
And for those other games where it isn't, That's what save states are for, because they're all emulatable
That's
now.
right, baby.
Yeah.
Let's see. But other than that, I need to beat Xenoblade Chronicles 1,
Okay.
because I've beaten 2 and 3 at this point. I would love to. I'd love to beat 1. I mean, I got a bunch of backlog on regular Steam games, but I'd love to long term chip away at Persona 5.
Nice. That's a good one. Yeah, I'm terrified of starting
I
it.
think that's about all I'm willing to commit to for
I
the
think-
upcoming
I,
year.
I think site wise, we need to commit to game nights a little more.
Yeah, I
They're
agree, too.
always
we
always
still have a
fun.
game review that we got to cover
Yeah.
with the game night.
Yeah, like they're always
Yeah,
fun,
they are.
and I think there's some. I hear my 3D printing finishing, so that's a bad sign
that's
for
a
you
timer.
guys.
It would be game nights where we play together, and then also game nights where we all log on and we just play whatever we want to play, but we're just chatting.
And we're just it's chill and chat.
Yeah,
chill and chat. Ooh, I'm writing that down. Chill and
Write
chat.
that down.
That's actually really
Yeah.
good. Chill and chat.
I have
Nice.
an idea. I have an idea, and I'm not gonna talk about it on the show. But
Okay, all right.
save it.
When we're
a
off
secret.
the air,
Keep your
which we're
secret.
just about off the air now, at
It's
the
time to
2 hour
go.
mark. Gents, thank you for
I'm very tired.
your 10-hour days for joining us. Thank you to the viewers. Thank you to the listeners. We definitely
Mostly
appreciate
Playland.
mostly Playland. Thank you to the WWE Board of Directors for contacting us about our opinions on what we should do. We
So glad
will.
that they reached out this time.
I mean, last time they did not. It's going to be a fun. 2023 is going to be a fun year, as we kind of talked about with our prediction episode last time and all that stuff. So, looking forward to just having more fun and looking forward to PAX East, E3, all that good stuff. It's going to be a good one. But it all starts the minute our podcast goes off the air, and all you beautiful people hop into our Discord. Link is in the video and on the site and all that kind of stuff. Or just visit the website, and you can find our contact info on there too. With that said, we'll see you all in the next episode of The SideQuest. Lehu the Hers. I don't know. Jim Carrey popped into my head. I was channeling.
Yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog really is just burned into your brain.